10. No bear wrestling allowed. Picture this. It's the 1,980 seconds you're at a county fair munching on cotton candy, and there's a tent where some dude is about to wrestle a bear. Sounds like a wild time, right? Except those bears were tortured into submission. Their teeth were yanked out, claws ripped off, and they were stuffed into cramped trailers. Some were drugged or starved to make them too weak to fight back. These poor animals were forced into multiple matches a day, and some didn't survive the exhaustion. The wrestlers often just random guys paying to look tough against a defenseless bear. States finally passed laws to ban this cruelty, and get this, the last known bear wrestling match in the US was in 2010. Yeah, we needed laws to stop people from thinking this was entertainment. Humanity, what's wrong with you? 9. Exploding billiard balls banned. Back in the 1800s, playing pool could literally blow up in your face. Billiard balls were made of ivory, but with elephants running low, a guy named John Hyatt invented celluloid as a substitute. One tiny problem: celluloid is basically a fire hazard waiting to happen. It's the same stuff that made early movie reels burst into flames. So bars were filled with drunk guys smacking around what were essentially mini-bombs. When the balls collided hard enough, they'd spark and explode, causing chaos. In the Wild West, a sudden bang in a room full of armed, boozed-up cowboys. Everyone's reaching for their guns. People kept using these death traps because apparently risking a bar fight was better than killing more elephants. Finally, laws banned these explosive balls. Who thought playing pool should feel like defusing a bomb? 8. Poison use candy crackdown. In 1858, a candy maker in Bradford, England, decided to cut costs on his peppermint lozenges. Instead of sugar, he wanted to use powdered gypsum, basically chalk. His delivery guy was sent to grab a barrel of the stuff from the chemist, but oops, he picked up arsenic instead. No labels, no warnings, just 2 identical barrels of white powder. The candy maker mixed the poison into 40 pounds of candy, enough to wipe out thousands. It hit the market, and within days over 200 people were sick, and 20 died, mostly kids. This wasn't even a one-off. Candy makers back then used lead for shine, mercury for red, coloring copper for green, all to save a buck. The Bradford disaster forced Parliament to pass the first food safety laws. Can you imagine buying candy that might kill you? 7. Spit and you're fined. You've seen those no spitting signs, right? They're not just about keeping sidewalks clean. They come from the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic, when a single spit could be deadly. That flu was a nightmare, killing people so fast undertakers couldn't keep up. Healthy folks could feel fine in the morning, show symptoms by noon, and be gone by night. When scientists figured out the flu spread through spit droplets, cities lost it. Spit spreads, death signs went up everywhere. In New York, spitting could cost you the equivalent of $1,000 today, and some places threw repeat spitters in jail with actual criminals. Crowds would even beat up people caught spitting. Next time you see a no spitting sign, remember it's a grim nod to a time when saliva was a public health crisis. 6. No crying at funerals. During the Black Death in medieval Europe, losing your entire family wasn't bad enough. You couldn't even mourn them publicly. The plague wiped out up to 60% of some towns. Imagine living on a street where most houses are empty, and the air's filled with wails of grief. Authorities noticed something chilling: public mourning made people lose hope, and hopeless people ignored quarantine rules, thinking I'm dead anyway. That made the plague spread faster. So governments banned public grief. No black clothes, no crying in the streets, no funeral processions. Break the rules, you'd face fines or jail time. You could get arrested for crying at your own kid's funeral. How's that for a gut punch? 5. Grave robbing gets regulated. In the 1800s, medical schools needed bodies for dissection, so grave robbers turned it into a full-on business. These weren't just random crooks, they were like corpse delivery services, taking special orders for bodies with specific diseases. They'd scout funerals by day, dig up graves by night, and have them cleared in under an hour. But some got impatient. In Edinburgh, 2 guys, Burke and Hare, decided murder was faster than grave robbing. They killed 16 people and sold the bodies to a professor who didn't ask questions about why they were so fresh. When one victim was recognized, the gig was up. The Anatomy Acts were passed, letting medical schools use unclaimed bodies from workhouses or prisons. If you were poor and died, your body went straight to the dissection table, no funeral, no respect. The rich, they got to rest in peace. Fair right. 4. Corpse medicine rules. In the 1600s, your local pharmacy wasn't stocking ibuprofen. It was selling ground-up human skulls and mummy powder. Doctors thought eating human remains could fix anything from headaches to epilepsy. Got a headache? Mix some crushed skull with chocolate. Trouble sleeping? Brew tea with mummy dust. King Charles II himself sipped King's Drops, a mix of alcohol and skull fragments. The wealthy would crowd execution sites to collect fresh blood, believing it was more potent. When bodies ran short, grave robbers and even murderers stepped in to supply pharmacies. Eventually, officials passed laws not to stop people from eating corpses, but to regulate the shady supply chain. This went on until the 1800s, when doctors finally realized chugging dead people wasn't exactly a miracle cure. Europe went through thousands of mummies and corpses before that clicked. 3. The ugly ban. From the 1,860 seconds to the 1,970 seconds, some U.S. cities could arrest you for looking wrong. Their so-called ugly laws banned anyone deemed diseased, maimed, mutilated, or deformed from public spaces. San Francisco kicked it off in 1867, basically saying, if you're not pretty, stay home. Business owners claimed disabled people lowered property values, so instead of helping, they made existing while different illegal. Chicago's law called people unsightly or disgusting objects and fined them up to $1 500 inches today's money. Many victims were Civil War vets. Imagine fighting for your country, losing a limb, then getting arrested for walking down the street. The last of these laws wasn't repealed until 1974. We landed on the moon before we stopped punishing people for how they looked. Progress, huh? 2. Vampire burial ritual. In medieval Europe, if you died during a plague, your burial came with extra steps. Step 1, shove a brick in your mouth. Step 2, wrap your body in chains. Step 3, drive a metal stake through your chest. Why people thought you might come back as a vampire. When they dug graves to bury more plague victims, they'd find bodies with blood around the mouth, or shifted positions. Normal decomposition, but to them it screamed undead. Bloating from gas pushed blood out, and sometimes made corpses move. In Bulgaria, over 100 vampire burials followed this grim playbook. The kicker, many of these vampires just had tuberculosis, which made you pale and cough blood. So you'd battle a deadly disease, die, and then get the full vampire-slaying treatment. Talk about a rough afterlife. 1. Wrecking ships for profit. Imagine you're a sailor in the 1700s battling a stormy sea. You spot a light in the distance thinking it's a safe harbor. Nope, it's a trap. Coastal communities used to lure ships onto rocks or reefs with fake lights, then rob the wreckage and kill any survivors. Dead men don't talk after all. This wrecking was so common it was practically a family business. In places like the Bahamas, where some got so rich they became local elites, kids grew up learning how to murder and steal from shipwrecks. Governments tried to stop it by making wrecking a capital offense, but one good haul could set you up for life, so people kept at it. Lighthouses weren't just built to guide ships, they were built because you couldn't trust a random light on the shore. For centuries, a glow in the dark meant someone was waiting to end you. That's our list of the top 10 laws that prove humans can be their own horror story. Which one creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments and tell us what bizarre laws you've come across. Hit that like button if you learned something new, and subscribe for more dives into history's weirdest corners. See you next time.